Today, we're going to build a Ranger the way that Ford should have done it.
Hi, my name's Steve-O. But today I'm going to teach you
I'll be showing you in detail how to replace your stock naturally aspirated 2.3 liter, how to put the turbocharged unit from an SVO Mustang. I'm going to talk about everything you need to know to get the swap running in your project. And stay tuned till the end, because even though we get it running, it isn't without its problems. What's up, guys? Today we're going to get into what it took to turbocharge this 1989 Ford Ranger. In this video, we're going to get into everything from removing the original engine to wiring, plumbing, all the little bits and things that I got hung up on when I was swapping this engine over. Okay, so this is the engine out of a 1984 Mustang SVO. I got the engine, wiring harness, and ECU all as one package. Once you have all that stuff, you can begin removing your old engine. This process isn't rocket science, but it is difficult, so just make sure to take your time. There are 2 bolts that hold the exhaust on that you should remove, and I think there's around 10 bolts that go around the transmission bell housing. Dump the coolant and the motor should come right out. We will need a few things from the stock Ranger's engine harness, so make sure to put this stuff aside for later. Okay, so this is the engine wiring for a 1988 to 1991 Ranger. It's a 60 pin connector, but we only have to worry about 2. The first of which being pin 1, keep alive power. This wire goes from the battery to the EEC power relay, the fuel pump, and the ECU. This is the wire that turns the ECU on. It's a yellow and black wire in the bottom left corner. Going further up the wiring diagram to pin 22, that's your fuel pump. This is a brown wire with a green stripe. The ECU grounds the fuel pump to turn it on. So here's the original connector. Flipping it around the back, you see pin 1. This sends power to the ECU, so this is how the truck's computer gets power. This is pin 22, and this is what turns on your fuel pump. And this is where most of the swaps mystery lies. Inside the engine bay, underneath your fuse box, you should be able to locate your main relay and your fuel pump relay. These are brown and green respectively. There's a red wire that goes to both of them. It goes to pin 37 and 57. This is key on power. Cut this wire before the split and prepare to connect it to pin 37 or 57 on your new computer. Both of these relays can stay in the truck and do not have to be removed with the engine. Now that that's over with, we can place the turbo engine into the truck. To do this, I've got to take the downpipe off of the turbo and section the heater core. So one of the first issues that you're going to run into when you're doing the swap is the clearance between the downpipe and the HVAC box that sits right above it. I used an angle grinder and cut out a pretty big section, and then used a heat gun on a sheet of ABS plastic to form it. There's a million ways to do this. You can also use sheet metal. This worked okay for a while, but I did have to reinforce it with some aluminum tape later on. In order for your HVAC to function properly, it's important that this is airtight, so don't be afraid to spend some time on this part. The vane air meter sits on the vacuum side of the turbo. It uses a potentiometer attached to a flap to measure incoming air so that the ECU knows how much fuel to send. It's good practice to keep this within 1.5 feet of the turbo. I put mine by the battery tray. I was able to chop up and reuse the factory mount. Now that that's done, we can move on to mounting the coil. I made this bracket out of a piece of 1x2 and some flat bar and installed it on the driver's side frame rail. I chose this spot because it's near the distributor and it should get some decent airflow in this area. Okay, so now that the engine's in, the airbox is sectioned, the air meter's placed, and the coil is mounted, it's a good time to start diving into the wiring. First, we're going to assess the harness, then we're going to test connections and make any necessary repairs. Once that's done, we'll integrate it into the truck to make it a turnkey affair. Let's get started. Okay, so first let's look at the wiring diagram for a 1984 Mustang SVO. On the left side, you'll see a list of sensors and pins. For clarity's sake, I added the same ECU plug that we saw earlier. At a quick glance, you can see that pin 22 and pin 1 are actually in the same location as the factory Ranger. The first thing we're going to do is wire keep alive power from this computer to our truck's fuel pump. On the 1984 Mustang, the fuel pump relay is located underneath the driver or passenger seat. So usually when you get a harness, the harness is cut at the inertia switch. I've crossed out the fuel pump relay, fuel pumps, and battery because that's still on the donor car. Find the wire that goes into the inertia switch on the SVO harness. Connect that to the red wire on your stock fuel pump relay. Next, locate the wire going from pin 22 on your SVO harness. It's the same color as your old one, brown with a green stripe. Connect this to the same color wire on your stock fuel pump. Keep Alive Power is the yellow and black wire. I was able to take my stock Ranger plug and reuse it so that the computer connected to the battery just like factory. There is an inline resistor in this wire, so if you're having problems turning your ECU on, check here first. Take the red wire from pin 37 or 57 that goes to your EEC power relay and connect it to the red wire that you cut earlier on your factory power relay. Pin 30 is an octane switch. Switch it to ground and only flip that switch when you're running premium. This is assuming you're not running the factory boost control circuitry. Moving up the diagram, on our TFI plug, there are these two mystery pins. These are actually your start and run wires. Hi. This is a TFI plug. These are the two wires that I was just talking about in the video. Start wire and a run wire. They just need to see 12 volts at different times. The start wire only needs to see 12 volts when the engine's cranking. The run wire needs to see 12 volts while the engine's running. If you look at the wiring on the driver's side fender, you'll find a multi-pin connector that has both of these wires. There's a red wire with a blue stripe, and that's what you use for your start signal. On the same connector, there's a red wire with a light green stripe, and that's what you use for your run signal. So now we have power to the ECU, we've connected our fuel pump and our ignition control module. You should be able to fill the engine with fluids, connect your fuel lines, and turn it on. Now you can enjoy the Ranger in its ideal form, the way Ford should have done it. Robust, worry-free, and joyful. Thanks for watching this video.
Okay, so that's how you do it.
Okay, so it runs and drives, or at least it ran and drove. In the next one, we find out why this happened, and then pull a Thundercoupe out of the field and fix this. If you're in the middle of this swap and you're looking for some guidance, I've created a PDF that breaks down the entire thing in a step-by-step process. Everything from what parts to get to what color wires to connect. It's for sale on my online store, and I send a free sticker pack with every purchase. Thanks for watching.